Chapter 304, Battle. Deep Sea Demon Whale King, TL by Babelson. Tang San said sternly, if I'm not mistaken, when Shenrinshu spoke to me through the ocean that just now, when she said she'd wait, she should be waiting by the sea, until I become sea god. As long as she defeats me as a god, my influence on her heart will completely disappear. Besides, through her battle with me, she definitely found areas where she was lacking. Perfecting her own strength is far more important to her than destroying the Heaven Do and Douluo empires. As long as she can perfectly grasp the abilities of the god of angels and then kill me, unifying the continent is just a matter of time. On the other hand, if she seeks instant benefit and rushes to help the spirit empire army sweep through the empires, then once I become god and counterattack, all her efforts will have been in vain. Shenrinshu is intelligent too. She absolutely wouldn't make a bad deal like that. Therefore, I'm sure she will stay by the sea, perfecting her strength while waiting for my return, to allow her to truly grasp the power of the god of angels. Daimyobai suddenly realized. So that's it. No wonder you weren't at all worried she'd go cause trouble on the Heaven Do Empire side. But, just in case she heads to the front, wraps the Heaven Do Empire army and captures our friends and relatives as hostages, what do we do then? Tang San didn't give it any thought, shaking his head. She won't. Powers have their dignity. Even if I haven't dealt much with Shenrinshu, that woman is extremely proud and disdains such actions as beneath her. Maybe if it was Bibi Dong, but Shenrinshu definitely wouldn't. Therefore, at least for now the front will be fine. But even so, I still have to receive the sea god's inheritance as soon as possible to check all detrimental possibilities in the cradle. We have to hurry. Just as he spoke, Tang San suddenly lowered his head and looked down below the vast sea barrier. The devil spirit great white sharks carrying them suddenly changed direction, their speed dropping. Even though the others reacted one beat slower than Tang San, they still immediately discovered the changes. Before they could ask, a giant silhouette distantly in the clear seawater told them the reason. While still distant, relying on purple demon, Tang San still instantly recognized its shape. Wasn't that the devil spirit great white shark king, their friend Xiaobai? Xiaobai still looked strong and vigorous. It naturally sensed the presence of its kin and accelerated once again, meeting them in just a moment's work. Turning in the water, the enormous figure rolled in the sea and came up to their side like a naval escort, advancing together. And at the same time Xiaobai's voice also shook through the seawater into the vast sea barrier. Even though they were invisible, she of course knew Tang San and the others were with her clansmen. You finally came. What was that just now? Tang San, who was that voice? Too scary. The senses of spirit beasts were much more sensitive than humans, and Xiaobai had also been within range of Shenrinshu's communication, so she naturally heard that voice. Even speaking of it now she had a lingering fear, her body shivering once. Tang San explained with a wry smile. Listening to him, Xiaobai couldn't keep her eyes from widening. A god actually really appeared. It seems the continent will be in chaos. I once heard my elders say that all gods appeared in pairs, mutually restraining each other. Tang San, it seems you'll have to become the sea god as soon as possible. Only that way can the god of angels be restrained. Tang San said. That's my plan. Only, before that I have to go complete the 8th sea god's trial, and at the same time get the 9th spirit ring for my 2nd spirit. Xiaobai said. I know your target. This time I rushed over to first of all help you, and second to warn you. Oh Sexy wanted me to tell you that the deep sea demon whale king is different from ordinary 100,000-year spirit beasts. Its cultivation is unfathomably deep. Even she might not be able to defeat it, so you have to be extremely careful. Tang San said. The deep sea demon whale king is a spirit beast of the sea. Xiaobai, you definitely know more than us. Tell us about its abilities and physical strength. That way we can figure out a way to deal with it. Xiaobai's giant tail swung. I also know very little. You really are facing a bone that's difficult to know this time. Even the entire evil spirit orca clan put together might not be as scary as that guy. Otherwise, with how aggressive they were, how could the evil spirit orcas leave it alone? If you kill it, you'll definitely gain a lot of benefits. Oscar said. Xiaobai, hurry up and tell us exactly just how strong that deep sea demon whale king is. What are you in a rush for? Does Tang San look hurried? Humphrey humph. Xiaobai most liked arguing with Oscar, and she couldn't help retorting when she heard his voice, but she still explained what she knew about the deep sea demon whale king. Tang San, frankly, I've never seen the deep sea demon whale king. I know absolutely nothing about its abilities. Xiaobai's first words left Tang San shocked. Tang San frowned. Aren't you, the evil spirit orca king and the deep sea demon whale king called the 3 overlords of the sea? How come you haven't even seen it? Xiaobai smiled wryly. What 3 overlords? That's something you humans forced on us. I've never admitted to it. Do you know how vast the ocean is? In this world, there's 4 times more sea than land. So absolutely don't think of land spirit beasts as numerous. There's actually an untold number of times more sea spirit beasts. Spirit beasts on land can only live on a flat surface, but in our sea creatures can exist at any depth. Also, spirit beasts in the sea, especially in the deep and distant seas, are very difficult for you humans to bother. As a result, it's much easier for sea spirit beasts to mature than on land. As long as they're strong on their own or their clan has enough strength, they'll easily survive. As a result, there's definitely 100 times more 100,000-year spirit beasts in the sea than on land. What 3 overlords? To me, that title is just a joke. If you said the 3 overlords of the sea near the Douluo Continent, it'd be closer. In the distant and deep seas, there's an unknown number of 100,000-year spirit beasts. Of course, we devil spirit great white sharks are a rather strong faction in the sea. Tang San was astounded. Then wouldn't there be hundreds of 100,000-year spirit beasts in the sea? Xiaobai said. You could say so. Only, don't believe sea spirit masters will be strong because there are numerous sea spirit beasts. On the contrary, just because we sea spirit beasts are too powerful, you humans basically don't dare go hunting in the distant and deep seas. Sea spirit beasts stick together much more than land spirit beasts, and everyone would definitely oppose any hunting spirit masters together. Like last time, if I didn't cooperate in bringing you to attack the evil spirit orca group, you wouldn't have faced just their group, and even if you annihilated the evil spirit orcas you would have been blocked by other powerful creatures in the sea. Tang San nodded. How is all this related to the deep sea demon whale king? Xiaobai said. I'm saying this to explain its power from another angle. Do you know why I've never seen it? Because when I was born, the elders strictly ordered that none of our clan was allowed to enter the deep sea demon whale king's territory. Not just us, if I'm not mistaken. The evil spirit orca king received the same warning from its elders. Only, that fellow was gutsy and once tried entering. I don't know the results, but after that the evil spirit orca flock didn't start a war with us for 100 years. Clearly they suffered for it. Tang San suddenly understood, shocked. You mean to tell me that the deep sea demon whale king doesn't have the limit of no more than 10,000 years of life after cultivating for 100,000 years? Xiaobai said. You really are much smarter than certain people. My meaning is this, even I don't know how long the deep sea demon whale king has lived. In any case, when I was born he was already the absolute overlord of this area. I don't dare disobey the orders my elders passed down, and therefore I've never approached its domain. At most I've watched from a distance. The deep sea demon whale king is an extremely lazy fellow, and it never leaves its domain either. It even hides in the deep sea, so there's no telling what it's up to. Of course, if someone dares trespass, it definitely won't be polite about it. That's why the deep sea demon whale territory has always been taboo for you human ships. Tang San deeply understood this point. Nodding, he said. By what you say, this deep sea demon whale king really is difficult to deal with. Its cultivation is at least 200,000 years. Xiaobai said. Maybe not just that. I can be sure that not just me doesn't know its true age. There probably isn't a spirit beast in this entire sea region that does. Of course, there's one thing I can tell you, with certainty. Even though it's you humans who came up with the 3 overlords of the sea, and I'd be embarrassed to accept it, but this deep sea demon whale king is known as an overlord is definitely fame following merit. Moreover, it's very possibly the #1 tyrant of the ocean, an undefeatable tyrant, where even the strength of your human gods might not make much difference. The Shrek 7 devils grew cold breaths practically simultaneously, immediately becoming aware of the thorny problem. They originally just thought of the deep sea demon whale king as a large 100,000-year spirit beast, but according to Xiaobai, this estimation immediately changed to strength unknown. Tang San's mind immediately started to turn at high speed. Generally speaking, 100,000-year spirit beasts cultivation was equivalent to a human title Douluo level expert. Some especially powerful 100,000-year spirit beasts, like the forest king sky blue bull python and titan giant ape, would be equivalent to human title Douluo over rank 95. Without a doubt, this deep sea demon whale king was even more frightening than Dominion Ming and Ming, and definitely surpassed their category. Since sea god Douluo Sexy wasn't sure she could kill it, this fellow might very possibly be a rank 99 peak Douluo level being. Only, it would never be a god level power. This bit Tang San could be sure of. Otherwise it would already have become a second sea god, and he could never have escaped last time. Reaching this conclusion, Tang San's expression turned even more serious. If he calculated correctly, then they would face an enemy on Sexy's level, and moreover in the sea where it was at its best. If the deep sea demon whale king's strength was equal to Sexy, then its control over the ocean might very possibly be stronger than hers. After all, it had always lived in the ocean, and nobody knew what level its cultivation had reached. Giving up was definitely impossible. Without killing the deep sea demon whale king, he didn't have a chance of inheriting the sea god's divinity. This battle was unavoidable. Tang San's eyes gradually firmed. When he was rank 93, he'd once used all kinds of attacks to face BB Dong. Now he was already ranked 96, and even possessed the mysteries of the great Samuro hammer. Would he still be unable to deal with the deep sea demon whale king? Regardless of if it was for revenge or the god's inheritance, both required killing that tyrant of the sea. Making a firm resolution, Tang San's face gradually returned to normal. He could vaguely already guess that the true difficulty of his 8th sea god trial should be to kill the deep sea demon whale king, a sea spirit beast that even the sea god mentioned, and as the last difficulty of the sea god's 8th trials, that it was difficult was normal. Besides, if he killed this tyrant of the sea, that was equivalent to proving he possessed the strength to defeat any sea spirit beast, and so after becoming sea god, all 4 seas would acknowledge him. Therefore, completing this 8th sea god's trial was a necessary foundation for inheritance. For his road to divinity, Xiao Bai, how long does it take from here to the deep sea demon whale king? This time they entered the sea from a different direction than last time, and they naturally didn't know how long it would be. Xiao Bai said, by the fastest route, roughly 3 days' time, almost the same as back to Sea God Island. Tang San, you're already prepared to deal with it. Tang San nodded. I'll definitely win. 3 days' time is enough to prepare. Under Xiao Bai's lead, the devil spirit great white sharks accelerated with full power, heading towards the target, and Tang San also calmed his heart, laying out detailed plans for the battle that would decide whether he would become a god 3 days from now. While he recovered his overdrawn strength, he never lacked confidence, let alone when no matter how powerful the deep sea demon whale king was, it was still no Chen. However, this was the only point where Tang San was mistaken. In the deep sea, Chen really might not be able to kill the deep sea demon whale king. 3 days passed very quickly. To the Shrek 7 devils, the 3 days living in the ocean really weren't lonely. Besides cultivating, Tang San deployed them meticulously for the next battle. The busiest was Oscar, produced sausages all day long on the back of a devil spirit great white shark. The devil spirit great white sharks gradually slowed. Without need for Xiao Bai's reminder, Tang San knew that they were already approaching the demon whale territory, just the last little distance remaining to their target. Sitting cross-legged on the back of a devil spirit great white shark, Tang San softly caressed the sea god trident laid across his lap. He was no longer limited to using it as rigidly as when he first got this divine tool. As long as he wished, he could easily control the sea god trident's weight. Like right now, the devil spirit great white shark he sat on basically didn't feel that terrifying 108,000 jin weight, or it wouldn't have been able to move. However, ever since the sea god descended and helped Tang San escape Chen Renchu's pursuit, even though Tang San could still use it and control its weight, he couldn't connect with it anymore. It was no longer a divine tool, but rather just a terrifyingly heavy and extremely solid weapon. Whenever Tang San looked at the main blade and that empty rhombic space, he would feel somewhat bleak. It was because of him that the sea god's heart was shattered. A divine tool without heart or soul. How could it shine with the radiance of a divine tool again? Tang San had no idea how to restore this divine tool. He could even be certain that even sea god Douluo Sexy might not know. Back then he had brought the sea god's heart to Sea God Island, and it was just because he had it that he gained the sea god's approval, becoming the sea god's successor. But now the sea god's heart had shattered, and Tang San didn't know how to repair it. This divine weapon couldn't release its proper glory, and whether Tang San could inherit the sea god's divinity was in question. But unusually, right now Tang San wasn't worried about this problem, but rather felt regret for this rhombic hole. He'd felt sorry for the sea god trident more than once. If he had enough strength, how would the sea god's weapon have been disgraced by Chen Renchu's sacred angelic sword? Tang San had already firmly resolved that, no matter how, as long as it was within his powers, he would definitely restore this divine tool, not to inherit the sea god's strength, just for the sake of the sea god trident he considered his closest partner. This fellow had saved his life more than once, so he had to protect it. Every time Tang San caressed the sea god trident, this guilt would flow into it along with his movements. Vaguely, Tang San could sense a trace of a response from the sea god trident, but no matter how he infused it with his sea god's light, without the sea god's heart, the light had no way to get inside. But Tang San didn't give up. He shone his sea god's light on it every day. He believed that there would inevitably be one day when the sea god trident would sense his sincerity and be reborn by his ability. The devil spirit great white sharks came to a complete stop, slowly surfacing under Xiao Bai's lead. There was an extremely long distance from here to the shore, and no matter how strong Chen Renchu was, divine senses couldn't possibly stretch so far. The energy waves produced by countless sea spirit beasts in the ocean was enough to block her divine senses, let alone with the ocean's own boundless energy. The feeling of daylight again made the Shrek 7 devils all move the same. Looking at the sky, they drew deep breaths. Fresh, moist and refreshing air was sucked into their lungs, making them feel exceptionally comfortable. Each one sat on a devil spirit great white shark, and Tang San had also withdrawn the vast sea barrier when they surfaced. Xiao Bai moved in the water, her giant body upright, only exposing her head above the surface to look at everyone. She seriously said to Tang San, I'll ask you one last time. Are you really ready? I will warn you to absolutely never believe the deep sea demon whale king isn't agile due to its size. If it moved, there's no creature in the ocean that is faster. Maybe I can save the others, but you. Tang San of course understood what Xiao Bai meant. She wanted to say that the others might have a chance to run, but as the main attacker, he would definitely suffer the deep sea demon whale king's retaliation. His face showed a faint smile. Even a god can't kill me. Do you think I would shrink back now? Xiao Bai nodded. I understand. Then, I sincerely hope that you can sit on me to absorb the deep sea demon whale king's spirit ring. That would be my eternal glory. Tang San smiled. Definitely. Plan for it. A bluish-grey light radiated from Xiao Bai's head, splitting into 7 portions in midair, each pouring into the foreheads of her 7 kinsmen. Faint blue-grey radiance immediately filled the distance between her and them. This was a kind of ability of Xiao Bai's devil trap domain, allowing her to specially share the domain with her clan, even though it didn't exploit the power of the ocean. Doing this could enhance their bodies as much as possible, especially speed. As long as this link existed, these 20,000-something cultivation clansmen's speed would be equal to hers. This was also Xiao Bai's purpose in using this ability. With her strength, as long as she wasn't exhausted from something else, maintaining this connection for 24 hours wasn't a problem. Little San, go all out. The 6 devils' gazes all focused on Tang San. Tang Bai was the one who spoke up, his voice filled with encouragement. The others equally gazed at Tang San, especially Xiao Wu who, besides encouragement, hid the concern that filled her heart as best she could. But how would Tang San fail to notice? Raising his head to look at the golden sun in the sky, Tang San suddenly issued a resonant cry. The cry pierced the sky like an arrow, like a declaration of war against the sun, as if to express the humiliation Chen Renchu gave him. At this moment, everyone next to Tang San as well as the devil spirit great white sharks all clearly felt Tang San's fighting spirit increase geometrically, very quickly reaching a terrifying degree. Faint golden light brightened all over him. It wasn't spirit energy. The source seemed to be his skin. After recovering from the baptism of several battles with Chen Renchu, Tang San's body had grown even stronger, even closer to the god level. Even though this light was far from able to compare to Chen Renchu's golden radiance, it still signified that he was now no longer completely human, but rather truly a semi-god. In the cry, Tang San rose into the air, bringing along that faint golden light. In the blink of an eye he had shot into midair, so fast it was like a vague golden shooting star, and the direction he flew in was the deep sea area that hid the deep sea demon whale king. A strange sound issued from Xiao Bai's mouth at the same time. She suddenly accelerated, leading her clansmen carrying the 6 devils and the remaining one to quickly chase in Tang San's direction. The Shrek 6 devils sitting upright on the backs of the devil spirit great white sharks naturally also released their spirits. This unavoidable battle would finally begin. Tang San's full strength cry was so loud that the piercing sound broke through the sky and deep into the sea. Within this howl, Tang San had already rushed into demon whale territory. In his right hand, the sea god trident leaned towards the surface of the sea, and Tang San's eyes were filled with aggressiveness. Blue hair fluttered in the wind. His white robes went graceful, only radiating killing intent. On his forehead, the trident brand emanated golden light, like a third eye. Even though Chen Even though Chen Rinchu's cry couldn't spread as far as Chen Rinchu's divine sense voice, but the sound still shocked the numerous sea spirit beasts around the demon whale territory. Nobody knew how many years it had been since anyone had dared challenge the deep sea demon whale's dignity, and this sudden challenge really shocked the sea spirit beasts. In their minds, the deep sea demon whale king was a terrifying, undefeatable existence, and this challenger was actually a human. Numerous sea spirit beasts floated to the surface, distantly watching Tang San floating in the sky. Clever sea spirit beasts all retreated some distance, while the gutsy cautiously approached a bit. Of course, among them absolutely went anyone who dared enter the demon whale territory. That was an absolute taboo. Tang San stayed 500 meters above the surface. This position was carefully calculated. As the strongest sea spirit beast, the deep sea demon whale's attacks couldn't be avoided by flying like this. The reason he flew here was because this was the most advantageous position to attack. The crystal clear sea gradually began to change. The originally sky blue water slowly grew murky. The great waves in the demon whale territory calming down, forming a clear contrast with the heaving sea surrounding it. This calm didn't spread outward, and neither could any waves influence it. The thick atmosphere made the air distort somewhat. Tang San's expression was constant. Golden blue light emerging beneath his feet. One spirit ring after another floated up around him. After 3 days of rest, the side effects from using ring detonation had already disappeared, and the blue silver emperor spirit could be used again. Shifting the sea god trident to his left hand, his right hand pointed down. Rich golden blue light quickly turning red along with his fifth spirit ring blossoming with light, frantically condensing. This was the blue silver emperor fifth spirit ability, blue silver tyrant spear. Distantly, Xiaobai had already stopped with her clansmen. Ning Rongrong jumped up, standing on Xiaobai's back. Even though she wasn't a battle type spirit master, relying on the physical qualities of a spirit Douluo, this simple jump was nothing to her. The 9 treasure glazed tile pagoda glittering with brilliant light appeared in her palm. Ning Rongrong's expression grew unprecedentedly serious. In her left hand, she also held something else. Dai Mubai and Zhuzuking joined up, arriving next to Xiaobai. The two now stood on the same devil spirit great white shark's back, palms linked together, black and white light constantly spinning around them. With their spirits released, they were ready to erupt with their greatest strength at any moment. The mission Tang San gave them was very simple: protect Ning Rongrong. When coming to hunt the deep sea demon whale king this time, besides Tang San, Ning Rongrong might be the most important. Xiao Wu quietly watched Tang San in the air from the side, the blood red brand on her forehead representing a first-rate trial already starting to grow feverish. Very clearly, she was going to meet the enemy together with Tang San again, even though their current position was very distant from the center of the demon whale territory. It was already within its range. In this area, Xiao Wu was recognized as facing the enemy together with Tang San by the sea god's trial. This was also the result of Tang San's meticulous calculations. Ma Hongdan said, "Don't worry everyone, I'm going too." While speaking, he also issued a long cry, immediately rising into the air. Scorching hot phoenix flame instantly spread all over his body, directly releasing his spirit avatar, 8-headed fire phoenix. Since his cultivation broke through to spirit Douluo, his fire phoenix had naturally also evolved. According to Ma Hongjan's own conjecture, when he reached the title Douluo level, his spirit avatar would turn into a 9-headed fire phoenix, and if he really could break through to god level, he might very possibly reach a 10-headed fire phoenix. That was the fusion of the 10-headed ardent yang serpent and the fire phoenix, and also the fusion of 2 great ancient divine beasts. Bringing along glittering light, Ma Hongjan very quickly also arrived high in the air. Only he flew 100 meters higher than Tang San, just above him, opening his phoenix wings. 7 heads stared down. At the same time as Ma Hongjan arrived in position, the surface of the sea below had already turned pitch black. An enormous pressure made the air seem to congeal. Even more terrifying was that above the entire demon whale territory, a vast expanse, up and down, heaven and sea, simultaneously turned pitch black like ink. Boom! A 5-meter in diameter, incomparably enormous pillar of blue light exploded without the slightest warning, abruptly breaking out of the sea. In practically an instant it had cut open the 500-meter distance and arrived by Tang San. Even though it wasn't the first time he'd seen this attack, Tang San still couldn't keep his heart from tightening. His strength had already reached rank 96, but like this he could even more deeply experience how enormous the energy contained in this attack was. That wasn't purely an energy attack, it was even more like the sea roaring. Just like the attacks Chen Rinchu could launch by drawing on the power of the sun, this blue pillar of light really didn't consist of much of the enemy's energy, but even more the power of the ocean. The ability to analyze the enemy's attack in detail wasn't an ability Tang San had now. The reason he could see the constituents of this energy was due to the combination of the purple demon eye and the sea god's light. He was to inherit the sea god, and who could be more familiar with the power of the ocean than the sea god. With a cold snort, Tang San stabbed in the air with the sea god trident in his left hand. A line of misty blue light shot from the brand on his forehead, enveloping the sea god trident and directly meeting the opposing attack. Even if the sea god trident had already lost the sea god's heart, it was after all the sea god's weapon. The deep sea demon whale king's enormous energy changed in practically an instant. The originally incredibly condensed energy suddenly scattering, numerous blue specks turning into seawater swirling in all directions, leaving only a smidgen of energy to clash with Tang San's sea god trident. The seawater fell back into the ocean with an explosive roar, while Tang San didn't even sway in the air. He had broken the deep sea demon whale king's attack, and at the same time the blue silver tyrant spear in his right hand instantly erupted, turning into a streak of golden light disappearing into the sea.